Well, hey, this is CImaniWilliams. And in this video, I'm going to leave you with some tips to consider for your book title. So, my book, Root Work Triumph Over Trauma, was decided upon for a title after I was going to use something else. I had a poem which is in the book titled "I Motherfucking Pinky Swear." And when I decided to use that, I was in a certain space. Um, I found, I was designing my own cover at that time. So I found something um, with a plant. And that spoke to grounding and being rooted and being assured of where you're going, what you're saying, and what you're doing. That's what that plant represented to me. And I didn't coin a motherfucking pinky swear, but that's how I was feeling at the time. I actually got that while I was watching a movie with two sisters, and you know how we do. So she said, "Girl, for real?" And she said, "Girl, yes, I motherfucking pinky swear." And they pinky swore. And so that stuck with me. That scene, it spoke to sisterhood and like bearing your soul with someone that you trust. And so it stuck with me. But then I started thinking about how much of that I would have to block out, for it to be acceptable to be published. Although I don't know if y'all have seen it or not, but there is a new biography out on Samuel L. Jackson, and it's titled "Cool Motherfucker." I will post that. I started listening to it last night. I got the audiobook version from Libby.com, which if you are not a member of, you should jump on that. Thousands and thousands of books. They have a great number of books out right now available in audiobook and print and ebook for Black History Month. Some great selections, and I'm so happy for all the authors that have found their way to Libby and have their book on there. And you just sign up with your library card and everything. It's online, it's virtual. Thousands of magazine titles. I remember back in the day, even in like 14, 15, when I was doing book reviews heavily. And I would go and physically check out like 20 books at a time. So I appreciate the electronic versions right now. Yeah, particularly still because people turn pages with their hands and I don't know where their hands have been. So for right now, that's working for me unless it is a new book that I am cracking the binder on, get that sniff on. Nothing smells quite like the new book smell, does it? So back to the title. So I decided to include the poem in the book, but not to use the poem title for my book title. But that plant stuck with me, and that root, just doing the work, having your hands in the dirt, feeling the earth, just kept resonating with me. So I began to look for someone that could give me like that root work in a tree and the dirt and the earth, and so that we're visualizing that growth that happens, that self-growth, that self-love that comes awake when we set boundaries and when we say enough is enough of the foolishness. And so that is how I came up with the title Root Work, which is also a poem inside the book. It's called Root Work Haiku. And that became my anchor, my base. It goes, Root Work Haiku. Root worker said, deep. Find truth by digging deeper. Validate for self. And that spoke to my heart. It's a piece that I always start with for readings, or if I'm out doing spoken word or open mic somewhere. That is my anchor piece. And so it just all tied in together. Now, I will say that I went with root work, and then I had to make sure that it was not too late for me to make an amendment to my title, and it was not. Thank goodness. It wasn't an issue with my ISBNs. It wasn't an issue with KDP either, because I decided to add triumph over trauma to give more perspective and to speak directly to trauma survivors who it is written for in the title. Root work was a little vague. Is she gonna be doing some voodoo? Is she a gardener? You know, it's just too many questions, even for me. So if I put myself in the position of other people, I could see where it could cause confusion. But root work, triumph over trauma, is very specific, very specific. And so that was, that became intentional, even though it didn't start out that way. And I think it speaks to what I put between the book covers much more, much better than a motherfucking pinky swear. Want to hear that one? Every wrong deserves a right. Could happen too if egos didn't persist and the ego didn't fly on Friday. If good happened in the streets after 2 a.m. and Saturday shame didn't come calling. If love was used as both verb and noun and practiced like religion. If church were a safe space for all God's children, since it ain't, why not worship in the streets? Bring a note, a pen, some hope, an antidote, something to stop all this pain, built on a lie, because you and I share different versions of truth. I motherfucking pinky swear. And that's said with all the Detroit love. I rep my city, even though I'm in the desert this morning. So when I, shared with my book cover designer that I wanted a tree, I mean, she went in. And so you know that when you place your book on KDP, you have the option of an ebook, a hardcover, and a paperback. So for my proofs, I ordered, and your proof will have not for resale on the front, and on the back it's a band that goes all the way around. But I had to have this. I had to have the proof copies so that I could see and make sure that everything was tight. And let me tell you, do get your proof copy and do read it. You may catch some things. I did. And so I was able to go back into KDP and make those corrections before we went live. Very important. You do not want your work out in the world poorly represented because it was not edited. And remember, we're going to hire a professional book editor. My favorite right now is the hardcover. I just love it. It reminds me of like middle school readers, and I love when they first came in and I stacked them all up. But like she got what I was saying, and I'm saying she. You can reach the book cover artist on Instagram at Art by Cheetah, CHIDA. It's wonderful to work with. And again, you want to give some consideration, some deep consideration to your book title, what it is that you're trying to convey. You want to run the checks and make sure that um, it is available, because like KDP told me that root work was available, but there's a lot of root work books out here right now, and probably have been for a long time. Um, so I needed also to come up with something to make mine stand out. So root work, triumph over trauma,